This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown Friday edition. It's a great day. It's Friday. It's the end of the work week. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Again, I do the morning shows, and you're probably used to seeing my face on this as well. Anyway, so on First Alert Weather Breakdown, thanks for joining us here for the day today. We are on the hunt for more rain showers again here for today, and unfortunately heading into your Mother's Day weekend as well. Now, I know I always hear the grumblings in my head of an audience going, oh, man, rain again. I know what we just dealt with for Tuesday. It was, man, quite the large amount of rain. I think it was somewhere between an inch to 3 inches of rain is what we had here from this past Tuesday, I believe. Thankfully, my point is we're not looking to get nearly as much rain over the next several days, plural, as what happened on this past Tuesday, which is good news. I'm still watching out again for pockets of wet weather regardless here, hitting today and hitting in some areas here for the weekend, but I'm not looking for it to be a massive chance. I'm not looking at some major system coming into the region. I'm most importantly not looking out for any severe weather threat here over the span of the next 3 to 4 days. Even Monday also has a little slim chance here for your weekend. So guess what? You haven't gotten the memo yet. All eyes are on the weekend here for the forecast then, and we're looking, unfortunately, for that local rainy forecast to mix with said weekend here all around the Arklatex. So we're going to be going into that in depth. Also, we'll be taking a look at your weekend forecast for those of you traveling outside of town, taking a look at maybe there's a better Mother's Day spot to get away to that won't feature any rain showers here, not only for Mother's Day, but also the weekend period. We'll take a look at all that forecast here coming on up. First of all, from First Alert Weather, from the First Alert Weather team, we don't really have much of a time to kind of, I was going to say issue this, but this really isn't much of a declaration. It's just Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers out there, grandmothers, mothers. To my own mom, if you're watching, Happy Mother's Day to you. Always really appreciate you. She's down in New Orleans somewhere, so maybe she's watching, maybe she isn't, but hey, if she is, Happy Mother's Day to you, and I'll be back down. I can't wait to see you again soon. Anyways, so yeah, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't think of it. I didn't think of it too much in the moment this morning when I was on television, doing these shows. Because usually I'll think of it on the day of, like, for example, Happy St. Patrick's Day on the day of St. Patrick's. But, you don't think of, like, other holidays such as Mother's Day too far often, days in advance. I prep myself up. Mom, I got you gifts and I got you a card. Well, if I spoiled that, oops. But anyways, you get the point. I got things for my mother. Anyways, Happy Mother's Day. That's what I'm just trying to get down to. Let's get into the forecast here for today. All right, so beautiful sunshine all around the Arklatex here for your Friday. For now, doing a stress that for now. Don't go out and about just saying it's going to be sunny for the rest of the day because it is not. In fact, you can see some of those cumulus clouds, granted tiny, around our Doppler radar. It's partly cloudy here for now, but again, we could build some cloud cover later on this afternoon, which could introduce rain back into the equation. Elsewhere in Texarkana, it's almost the same look on the skyline. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies all around the Arklatex. But again, I've kind of stressed this on the what to wear graphic, even though the skies don't look threatening. Kind of looks like your ordinary summer day. And for today, we still have rain around for this afternoon. So don't forget the umbrella on the way out the door. Temperatures very comfortable, I must say, at this point in time. 73 in Shreveport, 75 in Texarkana, but that's the warmest spot. 70 in Idabel, 67 in Natchitoches, 69 in DeQueen. These kind of temperatures are what I want to stay with for the entirety of today. Even then, highs won't get that entirely toasty for this afternoon. That's really one of the biggest changes here for today. Now, we're going to talk plenty about the rain, but let's talk about our temperature outlook because I would say we have some drastic changes here over the next week or so. We're going to start out by us cooling things down. Again, that's kind of our biggest trend here for today alone, and that's also going to continue, believe it or not, into your weekend as well. The purple shades and blue shades on this map indicate cooler than average temperatures settling into the Arclitex. When you see the red, it indicates warmer than average temperatures. So guess what's happening next week? Again, into the weekend, it's cooler than average. Overall, pretty much same temperatures we had last weekend out, where we had highs below 80 degrees. We have that again for this weekend. That's kind of the good news of the weekend, even though you have to deal with the rain, which, again, we'll get to in just a little bit. But once we get into next week, hot summer heat is going to be building in. It is going to be toasty around. You're going to prepare yourself to break a sweat here heading into next work week. Meanwhile, highs today dropping. The high yesterday in Shreveport was 87 degrees. The projected high for today is down to 79. So most of us are dropping high temperatures by a solid 5 to 10 degrees. That includes Natchitoches. Natchitoches only expected a high around 76 here for this afternoon. So most of us, maybe one of us reaches 80 degrees, but most of us really shouldn't. And again, that trend pretty much continues into the weekend and even into the start of next work week. The start, meaning Monday only. Well, once we get into the bulk of next week, the biggest jump we'll definitely take is into Tuesday. Look at the highs on Tuesday. Definitely approaching the upper 80s. And then once we get into Wednesday, oh boy, back up to 90s. And just so you know, I have not touched my my heat index graphics at all yet. I might need to mess with them next week, essentially. Might need to bring those out of the old closet. I probably will. Anyways, let's take a look at our IR satellite picture. Got a low pressure center and a stationary front. Now, this low pressure system has kind of dug itself a little bit into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's kind of just building lots of Gulf moisture around it. Overall, it is creating quite the rainy skies in areas off to our south towards New Orleans and Mississippi, where we have widespread rain showers around that area. But there's still going to be lots of rotating moisture that's creeping in here into the Arclitex. So we saw a little bit of some drizzling rain in the southern edge of the region here between Nacogdoches and Natchitoches this morning. But yet we're expected to build in some rain showers still later on today. Most of that's going to be thanks to some daytime heating. And you'll see that aplenty on this future track. So once we get into this afternoon, it's like bam, then we form the showers. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and backtrack to that way we could do this again exclusively on the first layer where the breakdown is. I can go back and forth on the future track here, really within the next, say, 2-3 hours. Once we reach around 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is in about 2 to 3 hours from now, that's when we start to form a lot more of these cells. Now, these cells are going to be forming, it looks like, almost directly on top of the Arclitex, and pretty much forming anywhere in the region, continuing through the evening commute. Now, look at these cells in particular. I do want to talk about them in and of themselves. Now, usually when we're talking about severe weather, we see a lot more shades of red and yellow on this map. That is not really found with this. So it looks like most of these cells, in fact, that's kind of what I said to begin with the headlines, is most of these cells should not be severe here for the day today. I could expect still a good amount of some areas of heavy rainfall, but that's really it. Most of us are kind of just dragged under these cells with that contain more moderate levels of rainfall, and more of them sporadic. Again, it's not a complete blanket. Notice how it's kind of individual cells around the Arclitex. So some of us might not even get hit by this rain coverage. I will still say, though, this continues in for a good portion of the day and into tonight. Around 8 p.m., we could still have a few straggling cells still left into the nighttime hours to watch out for. Even the future track is pinpointing till as late as like midnight before these cells finally start to dry up. Tomorrow morning, maybe a stray cell around, but overall tomorrow for Saturday actually looks fairly dry, which is good news to get out and about. And you might want to enjoy that day, because once we get into Saturday night, looks like we have some rounds of rain coming for us. Now, granted, again, look at these shades heading into the Arclitex. Most of it's just light to moderate rainfall, which, yes, is still rain regardless, but it's not any chance of severe weather that we really need to stay entirely whether or whereabout. So heading into Sunday morning, I do want to mention as well these storms. Look at the orientation of these storms. Most of the storms that we get into the Arclitex are moving west to east. Believe it or not, that's because of Earth's rotation here for the most part. You know, most systems go linearly across Earth's rotation from the west to the east. This system moving in the complete opposite direction, actually. So this is going to be a peculiar thing here for the weekend. So if you're looking out for the skies, I know you usually look out to the west to see what's coming out your way. You're going to actually going to need to look out to the east side to see if there are storms headed your way. Yeah, we're getting some breezes out of the east. It's kind of an inverted direction here in the Arclitex heading into our storms for your Sunday mornings. Yeah, Sunday morning, watch out for some spotty storms. This could continue as late as the lunchtime hours, unfortunately even into the afternoon maybe for areas of East Texas before finally drying up Sunday night. So that's what we're watching out for. Again, most of the weekend, I thoroughly believe, is not going to be a washout, as we kind of just saw. If any rain hits you, light to moderate rainfall, which is still going to be problematic at times, yes. I think my worst worry for the weekend is Sunday morning, it looks like, for Mother's Day morning all the way up to around those brunch times as well. I'd say watch out for that. Sunday night's looking good, and most of Saturday also looking fairly good to make your plan. So let's sum that up here in this travel forecast here for your weekend. Certainly Sunday looking to contain greater and more numerous amounts of rain showers around. Saturday, maybe a slim shower, especially if it happens. It looks to be early in the morning. Besides that, I mean, we're dealing with a few showers here for your Sunday before hopefully clearing most of that up Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening here in the Arclitex. Last thing, though, look at the temperatures again. Highs are only in the upper 70s here for this weekend. This might be the last weekend we hold on to that before summer starts to take over. We're going to look at that thoroughly now in this 7-day forecast. 79 here today. Again, highs only in the upper 70s here for your Mother's Day weekend. Watch out for a good amount of rainy skies here for Friday and for Sunday. It is possible for Saturday and for Monday, too, but not likely here at this point. And then the second half of that 7-day forecast, we completely dry things out. Sunny skies, a nice, thorough, dry break. But as a result of doing that, we bring back in the heat. And it looks like numerous days next week are going to be hot. 88 is the high on Tuesday, and then highs are looking to get into the lower 90s here, heading into the middle of next week. All right, that was a look at your local forecast. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at, actually, let me just for now, before I go to a quick break. Okay, no, I haven't seen any comments on our YouTube at all. Feel free to ask questions, by the way, if you're on our YouTube feed. I keep mentioning that. Yeah, feel free to do that. What was my other thing? I had one other thing. Oh, stick with us. Stick with us. We're not done. We're going to go over a weekend forecast for those of you traveling outside of the Arclitex, or if you're just curious about what's happening outside of the Arclitex, or if you're looking to get away to a spot that won't feature rain at all for your Mother's Day forecast. How about that? We'll see if we can find any areas around here that won't be dealing with the rain. We'll take a more regional look again at the forecast here for your Mother's Day weekend coming up after this. Hey, welcome back. Excuse me. To First Alert Weather Breakdown. Oh, man. Of course that happens right when I get back on. Anyways, welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown podcast. Let's hop on into the time machine. And what I mean by that is let's take a thorough look at what's happening here for the weekend, especially for those of you traveling outside of the Arclitex. Overall, this is a huge system. Again, we kind of talked about the satellite picture already, but let's take a look at it in kind of a different scope and talk about how it's affecting our forecast, again, regionally, not just for us in the Arclitex. So this is kind of a big ball of moisture here, and if this were hurricane season, honestly, I'd be a little concerned about a good amount of tropical moisture. It's still tropical moisture regardless, but being a little concerned about that system forming over the past couple of days. Believe it or not, that low pressure system, that little ball of moisture, is the same system that caused our first alert weather day back on Tuesday, believe it or not. Kind of wild to think about. But yes, this has been our same system that hit us back on Tuesday with areas of flash flooding is still there, and it's still on our doorstep, and it's still, for us in the Arclitex, still giving us rain here for the weekend. Now, thankfully, this thing moves, but not until next week. I guess the good news for us is that most of our flash flooding issues after Tuesday, most of it moved out. This system was able to move just enough east to where it's now camped over New Orleans. New Orleans had a big issue, especially with power outages going out. I heard down there in the southeastern corner of the state back on Wednesday. They've almost continued to deal with this. I think the first big round of moisture, I think they got a little break. I think somewhere over between Thursday and Friday. I don't remember. Or I think they got a short break for yesterday on Thursday, but the rain's back again here for the day today with the same system kind of revamping itself essentially. So my point in saying is that at least we're not like New Orleans, because they've been drenched underneath this system now Wednesday and again for today as well. I'll let you see this on the radar here for yourself. A good bunch. Most of the state of Louisiana is under rain, actually, here for you for the day today. That includes even Alexandria, which is right on the doorstep of the Arclitex. Now, again, the local radar here in the Arclitex, we don't have any rain here for us at the time being. We're going to form our own showers here later on this afternoon, which are going to rotate into the Arclitex. But for the moment, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, even New Orleans, especially some of the bayou areas south of New Orleans, getting, I won't say hammered, but definitely drenched with a good solid rain and good soaking. Some of this is trying to move northward up into Mississippi as well at this time. So that's how it's looking regionally here for the time being. But let's see if that changes in our long-term future track. Now I have to go back into this real quick and actually zoom out of the Arclitex here. There we go. So we can get a full little scope at what's happening everywhere over the next several days. All right, so for the rest of today, again, showers are forming in the Arclitex. You see that on the future track. I'll go ahead and put back, and then it forms. You see what I'm saying? While the storms currently in New Orleans, those are looking to move eastward out towards Bama, out towards Pensacola, around Florida, it looks like. We're going to form our storms in the Arclitex, and that's going to make an impact really into most areas of the Arclitex, maybe in areas around Alexandria, too, for central Louisiana. Well, actually, looks like for the rest of the night tonight, maybe a slight chance of rain out for Jackson and Mississippi, but it looks like most of Dallas and Arkansas actually look to stay dry here for the most part. Maybe a slim chance in those areas of rain for Dallas and Little Rock, but looks to be even less than chance of rain here. Then we get into Saturday. Again, all eyes are on that big ball of moisture, especially because it continues to rotate moisture around. Looks like for Saturday morning, the bulk of that system's way out into Alabama and Georgia. So as long as you're not going way out there, you should be fine, unless you're kind of sitting tight in Mississippi, where you could be dealing with some rain showers out and around there. Looks like we formed some coastal showers here for tomorrow afternoon, right along the coast. You headed out to Houston, New Orleans. Rain's going to be an issue there, but for Dallas and Little Rock, looks like it stays dry there for the moment, and also dry enough for the Arclitex in the process, too. So that's for the first half of the weekend on Saturday. And it looks like that big ball of moisture starts to rotate some moisture around into the region for the Arklatex here into Sunday. But not only us, it looks like Arkansas is getting it as well here on that long-term future track. But not as much Texas, and maybe just a spotty shower. Looks like for New Orleans possibly, but not as much, or not as great of a chance of rain for you then. Lastly, heading into Monday, we have the slimmest chance of showers for all those areas. Maybe a little greater chance for Little Rock, northern Mississippi, before finally that, as I keep calling it during this forecast, apparently, a big ball of moisture finally decides to leave. All right. So let's look at your long-term future track. Again, let's look at this in words and kind of detailed conditions as well. Kind of put in a list, so to speak. So these are the current conditions in all the cities around the Arklatex. Lower 70s in most areas. That's nice and comfortable. Maybe a little more cloud cover again out towards New Orleans and Jackson here for the time being. Again, for the rest of today, we're going to be dealing with thunderstorms in New Orleans. It's going to be an issue also for Monroe and Jackson, out to areas a little bit off to our east side of the Arklatex, while we get sunshine for the rest of you in Arkansas and Dallas and Texas here for today. Now, tomorrow, rain looks like it continues to hover over areas off to the east side of the Arklatex. So if you're going out to Monroe, Jackson, I'd even still probably say New Orleans as well. Excuse me. Watch out still for a little rain in those areas. But if you're out west or north of here, out towards Little Rock or Dallas, I think you should be fine, actually, here for the time being. Then heading on into Sunday, rain comes back into the Arklatex. And then we got some rain showers elsewhere out towards New Orleans. Looks like Little Rock's rainy day is going to be on Sunday as well in the bulk of Arkansas. Meanwhile, Monroe dealing with some spotty rain showers still on that day while we dry out most of the west side of us. Houston, Dallas continuing to stay nice and dry. So if you were paying attention over the entire weekend, looks like New Orleans is getting soaked for most of the weekend, including Jackson as well here for the most part. Little Rock has a rainy day on Sunday, but besides that, they should be fine. Monroe dealing with a good amount of rain here for the weekend as well. Looks like the one dry spot in all this equation that did not get hit by a single chance of rain even for the next 3 days is Dallas. So you're headed out west of here, headed further into Texas. I think you should be fine and should be good to go for a nice Mother's Day. How about that? Happy Mother's to you in particular, Texas mothers. Or those just heading into Texas. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you a preview of what you can expect for First Look with a breakdown heading into next work week before we get into the weekend. Stay tuned. We'll give you some sneak previews in the next week coming up after this. Welcome back to First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thank you very much for watching this stream. It's been a great work week. We had great coverage on First Alert Weather Day back on Tuesday, all around that. We're still kind of recovering from that rain back on Tuesday, and just from the overabundance of rain we've had from this month and from this year. There's been a lot of it. A lot of it coming along, even resulting in some high river levels, which we're actually going to take a look at on Monday, believe it or not. That's our topic for Monday on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, which is our next episode coming up on Monday at 10:30. Should be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to take, again, a thorough look at some of those river levels. Make sure they're where they need to be, especially for us to be fine and dandy, which I believe we are. But this, again, certainly, obviously, we've gotten several people kind of asking all around about, well, I'm not sure exactly if this is an issue, if it's going to get even higher. It could, but everything should be under control here for now, from what we've heard from other agencies, officials, that kind of thing, which is good, but I know it's a little concerning to know, yeah, it is running a little high. I do agree as well. I've seen it myself, too, driving out and driving around. So we'll take a look at that on Monday. Also, one other note I do want to make heading into this next week, I guess the last note I want to make is CJ. And I know I worked this entire week's worth of First Alert Weather Breakdowns. I did all 5 episodes here for this past week. Some of you might be wondering where CJ was, especially because I know we've kind of made it we are trying to make it kind of a co-host type of thing where I do half and he does half, essentially. He was filling in for those of you watching all of our shows, staying kind of up to date and, staying up to date with all of our shows here on KSLA News 12. CJ was filling in for Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones pretty much most of the week, which means he was working from 2 to 10 p.m., not a.m. So he is not on this shift at all. So I can't, ask him to, hey, CJ, can you come over and, do this thing outside of your normal working hours, working schedule? No. So, and I love doing this. Don't get me wrong. I love doing this all work week. This has been so much fun for me. It always is. I just know some of you might miss CJ. So, CJ should be on, by the way, next week. I haven't put the schedule together because usually it just depends on whenever. CJ has the most flexible schedule of any any meteorologist here. He's kind of always, again, the fill-in guy for whenever one of us are out. I'm stuck to the morning, stuck on the shift, stuck on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I wouldn't treat the word as stuck. I love my job. I love working the shift as well. Trust me. So the point is, CJ has the most flexible shift. This past week, the cards didn't align. He worked in the evening. I believe Matt Jones is the one who makes the schedule for all 4 of us, including Austin. I believe CJ's schedule should have him at least in here once next week. Unfortunately, I think he might be doing a little more fill-in work next week, but we'll see. But I think he should be in at least for an episode, maybe 2, maybe 3. That'd be great. He should be in for a couple of episodes, at least 1. I'll guarantee at least 1, hopefully, here for next work week. So he should be back next week for those of you who missed him out, missed out on him, essentially. As of right now, though, I'm planning on doing Monday's episode. Again, we'll go over some river flood warnings, and I'll talk to you then. I'll see you Monday at 10:30. Be there, be square. Most importantly, be weather aware. Have a great weekend. Again, you can stay weather aware about the rain. Yes, it could happen, so I'd say recommend and look at your radar frequently. But no severe weather chances, and I'm hoping it shouldn't be a washout by any means. I don't think it will be. Keep my fingers crossed. And there's still going to be plenty of dry slots and still plenty of dry time, is my point here throughout your weekend. So I'll see you Monday, 10:30. We'll take a look at the rivers. Be weather aware. I will see you back on Monday. Again, have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.